The brain might look like a wrinkled walnut, but don't let its appearance fool you. It's capable of running your entire body like an intricate symphony without you even realizing it. Sounds a little bit like magic, right? Imagine your brain as the world's most sophisticated supercomputer. And by supercomputer, I mean one that weighs less than a pineapple and runs entirely on jelly-like tissue. Seriously, it's amazing. This wet computer is responsible for your thoughts, memories, motor skills, breathing, and even your heart rate. But how does something so squishy manage all this? Well, the secret lies in something a bit more exciting than silicon chips. It's called neurons. Neurons are your brain's electrical wiring. Picture them as tiny little messengers, passing signals back and forth faster than a high-speed internet connection. And here's the kicker. There are about 86 billion neurons in your brain. Yep, you heard that right. You've got an entire network of electrical highways up there, buzzing with activity all the time. And they don't just send messages to other neurons, they also talk to your muscles, organs, and even your digestive system. But it's not just the neurons doing all the work. They rely on these tiny chemical messengers called neurotransmitters. They're like the text messages of the brain, sending signals that control everything from your mood to your reflexes. So when you say, "I'm feeling good today, thanks serotonin," or when you're about to eat an entire pizza in one sitting, yeah, dopamine is the one egging you on. Let's talk about memory for a second. Ever walked into a room and completely forgotten why you're there? Classic brain move, right? But here's the thing. Your brain's memory system is actually pretty amazing. Every time you learn something new, your brain creates a synapse, which is like a bridge between two neurons. The more you practice or repeat something, the stronger this bridge becomes, like a well-trodden path in the forest. Eventually, those paths become highways, and voila, you've just committed something to memory. But what happens when those paths get overgrown or blocked? Well, you forget things. Forgetting is actually just your brain's way of making room for new memories. So, next time you forget where you left your keys, don't blame it on a bad memory. Blame it on your brain making space for something more important, like your favorite song lyrics or the plot twist in the latest Netflix show. Priorities, am I right? Okay, now we're going to talk about some brain superpowers. You've probably heard about the whole "we only use 10% of our brains" thing. Yeah, that's a myth. You're using all of it. And even though it seems like we're constantly learning new things about it, there's still a lot to uncover. Your brain is super adaptable, a phenomenon called neuroplasticity. This means that your brain can change and rewire itself. So, whether you're learning how to play the guitar, mastering a new language, or just picking up new dance moves at your cousin's wedding, your brain's constantly evolving to meet new challenges. Let's not forget about your brain's ability to multitask. It's pretty great at balancing all those things you need to do at once. Like, think about it. Right now, your brain is letting you read these words, process the meaning behind them, and maybe even react with a little chuckle. It's also controlling your breathing, making sure your heart's pumping, and managing your posture. That's a lot of plates to spin, but the brain's always got your back. Now that we know neurons are the brain's communication system, let's talk about the actual structure of the brain. It's not just a big mushy blob, it's far more complex than that. Your brain weighs around 3 pounds, but it's like the control center of a massive metropolis with different neighborhoods and districts, each with a specific job. It's organized into regions, each playing a critical role in your everyday life. The cerebrum. This is the largest part of your brain and where most of your high-level thinking happens. The cerebrum is divided into two halves or hemispheres, the left and right. The left hemisphere is usually associated with logic, language, and reasoning, while the right hemisphere is linked to creativity, imagination, and spatial awareness. The two hemispheres are connected by a bundle of fibers called the corpus callosum. Think of it as the brain's internet, enabling the two hemispheres to talk to each other and work in harmony. But wait, there's more. The cerebrum is also divided into 4 lobes. The frontal lobe, the decision maker. It handles problem solving, planning, and voluntary movements. It also controls your personality and social behavior. So when you say something awkward, yeah, blame the frontal lobe. Parietal lobe. This part of your brain processes sensory information like touch, temperature, and pain. It also helps with spatial awareness so you don't end up bumping into things, hopefully. Occipital lobe, the visual processing center. This lobe helps you recognize faces, interpret motion, and understand what you're seeing. Temporal lobe. If you love music or have a knack for language, thank the temporal lobe. It's responsible for processing sounds and managing your memory. The cerebellum. Located at the back of the brain, the cerebellum is like the brain's personal assistant. It coordinates movement, maintains posture, and helps with balance. Without it, you'd be like a toddler learning to walk, wobbly and uncoordinated. The brainstem, this is the most basic part of your brain and also the oldest in evolutionary terms. The brainstem connects the brain to the spinal cord and controls essential life functions like heart rate, breathing, and sleep cycles. Without it, well, you wouldn't be alive. Have you ever wondered what happens inside your brain when you feel something? For example, why does the thought of an exam make you feel nervous, while a delicious chocolate cake can make you feel happy? The answer lies in the intricate interplay of brain regions and neurotransmitters. At the core of your emotional experience is the limbic system, which includes structures like the amygdala, hippocampus, and hypothalamus. Amygdala. When something emotionally charged happens, like hearing your favorite song or getting bad news, the amygdala lights up. It processes fear and pleasure responses, helping you react accordingly. For example, if you hear a loud noise at night, your amygdala will trigger a fight or flight response, sending you into panic mode. It's basically the brain's alarm system. Hippocampus. This part of the brain is crucial for forming new memories and linking them with emotions. So, when you remember an event from your childhood that made you feel joy, or a breakup that brought sadness, it's the hippocampus doing its thing. Hypothalamus. This tiny structure is often referred to as the brain's control center for emotional responses. It regulates your body's response to stress, hunger, and thirst. It also helps you manage your body's temperature and sleep cycles. Talk about a multitasker. Neurotransmitters also play a massive role in how we feel emotionally. Dopamine, serotonin, and oxytocin are just a few examples of the brain's mood regulators. When these chemicals are in balance, you feel happy and at ease. But when they're out of whack, well, you might experience symptoms of depression or anxiety. Now, let's take a deeper dive into how the brain processes and stores memories. We know the hippocampus plays a role in this, but how exactly does your brain turn experiences into memories that you can access later? The memory process begins with encoding, where information is gathered through your senses and transformed into a format your brain can understand. This is followed by storage, where the information is stored in various parts of the brain depending on its type. Long-term memories are stored in the hippocampus, and procedural memories, like how to ride a bike, are stored in the cerebellum. Then, there's the third step, retrieval. This is where things can get tricky. Sometimes memories are harder to access, or they may become distorted over time. For example, have you ever remembered an event completely differently from someone else? That's because your brain might fill in the blanks, or the memory might change based on your emotions at the time. Memory isn't just about remembering facts. There are different types. Short-term memory holds information temporarily, like a phone number you just looked up. Long-term memory stores information for an extended period, like remembering your childhood best friend's name. Procedural memory refers to memories of how to do things, like playing an instrument or riding a bike. Each of these systems works together to help us function and interact with the world around us. And it's all happening at the speed of thought, faster than any computer you've ever used. Now, let's talk about something super cool, neuroplasticity. Imagine your brain is like a sculptor's clay. As you experience new things, learn new skills, or adapt to new environments, the brain restructures itself. That's neuroplasticity in action, the brain's ability to rewire itself based on new experiences. When you're learning to play an instrument or mastering a new language, the brain forms new neural connections. The more you practice, the stronger and faster those connections become, almost like creating a superhighway for information to flow. And just like a muscle, the more you use these pathways, the more robust they become. So yes, you can actually change the shape of your brain with practice. This is why learning new skills is not only rewarding, but it also keeps your brain sharp as you age. But it's not just learning that triggers neuroplasticity. Even traumatic brain injuries can lead to neuroplastic changes. For example, after a stroke, the brain may reassign the functions of damaged areas to other parts of the brain. So, if you lose function in one hand, the brain might shift the control of that hand to the other hemisphere or part of the brain. This adaptive ability is one of the reasons the brain is so fascinating. It's constantly reshaping itself, responding to both challenges and opportunities. While the brain is pretty amazing, it's not immune to issues. There are a number of disorders that can affect how the brain works, some of which are temporary and others are chronic. Let's look at a few well-known brain disorders that affect millions of people worldwide. Alzheimer's disease. This is one of the most common forms of dementia, which is a general term for a decline in mental ability severe enough to interfere with daily life. Alzheimer's is characterized by the slow destruction of brain cells, particularly in areas that control memory and thinking. Early signs often include forgetfulness and confusion, and as the disease progresses, individuals may have difficulty recognizing loved ones or performing simple tasks. Parkinson's disease, a neurodegenerative disorder that affects movement. Parkinson's is caused by the gradual death of dopamine-producing neurons in the brain. This leads to symptoms like tremors, muscle stiffness, and slow movement. Although there is no cure, treatments can help manage the symptoms and improve quality of life. Depression and anxiety. These are mood disorders that involve an imbalance of neurotransmitters like serotonin, dopamine, and norepinephrine. These imbalances can affect how the brain processes emotions and responses to stress. Depression can cause feelings of sadness, hopelessness, and a lack of energy, while anxiety often involves persistent worry and nervousness. Thankfully, both conditions are treatable with therapy, medication, or a combination of the two. Attention deficit, hyperactivity disorder. ADHD is a neurodevelopmental disorder that affects focus, impulse control, and hyperactivity. It's often diagnosed in childhood, but it can continue into adulthood. People with ADHD may struggle with staying organized, following through on tasks, and maintaining attention, but many have unique strengths like creativity and problem-solving abilities. Schizophrenia, a complex mental disorder that affects how a person thinks, feels, and behaves. Symptoms can include delusions, hallucinations, and disorganized thinking. While the exact cause is unknown, researchers believe it may involve an interaction between genetic and environmental factors. Treatment typically involves a combination of antipsychotic medications and therapy. Epilepsy. Epilepsy is a condition where the brain experiences abnormal electrical activity, leading to seizures. These seizures can vary in severity, from brief lapses in awareness to violent convulsions. With proper medication, most people with epilepsy can manage their seizures and live normal lives. Understanding brain disorders is essential for improving treatments and supporting those affected by them. Research into these conditions continues to uncover new insights, with the hope of finding better cures or interventions. We've all experienced consciousness, the state of being aware of ourselves and our surroundings. But have you ever wondered what exactly is going on in the brain when you're conscious? The study of consciousness is one of the most profound and elusive areas of neuroscience. Consciousness involves the integration of sensory information, memory, and emotion in the brain to form an awareness of the present moment. It's believed that the thalamus, a small but crucial brain structure, plays a central role in this process. The thalamus acts as a relay station, sending information to the cortex, which processes it and helps you become aware of what's happening around you. Interestingly, consciousness isn't an all-or-nothing state. The brain can operate at different levels of consciousness. For example, you might be in a deep sleep, in a state of light consciousness, or fully awake and alert. And what about being awake versus aware? Sometimes we can be awake and alert, but our awareness is clouded, say after a long night of sleep or after a drink or two. So, the brain can be awake without full engagement or awareness, and vice versa. The hard problem of consciousness, a term coined by philosopher David Chalmers, is the question of how and why we have subjective experiences. Why does it feel a certain way to be conscious? Why do we have an inner narrative running in our minds? These are questions scientists and philosophers are still grappling with, and there's much left to explore in the realm of human consciousness. While the brain is a powerful organ, it still needs proper care and attention to function optimally throughout your life. Here are some tips to keep your brain healthy. Exercise. Regular physical activity is one of the best things you can do for your brain. It increases blood flow to the brain, promotes the growth of new neurons, and boosts mood-regulating neurotransmitters like serotonin. Plus, exercise can help prevent brain disorders like dementia and Alzheimer's disease. Eat a brain-boosting diet. Foods rich in antioxidants, omega-3 fatty acids, and vitamins, like leafy greens, berries, and fish, can help protect the brain from oxidative stress and inflammation. A healthy diet supports cognitive function and memory. Mental stimulation. Challenge your brain regularly with puzzles, games, reading, or learning new skills. Just like your muscles, the brain needs exercise to stay strong. Neuroplasticity allows your brain to form new connections, and the more you use it, the sharper it stays. Sleep. Never underestimate the power of a good night's sleep. Sleep plays a crucial role in memory consolidation, emotional regulation, and brain detoxification. During sleep, your brain clears out toxins that build up during the day, which is important for long-term brain health. Socialize. Engaging in social activities helps improve brain function and emotional health. Interacting with others stimulates areas of the brain involved in cognition and empathy. Plus, it reduces stress and boosts overall well-being. Reduce stress. Chronic stress is detrimental to the brain, particularly the hippocampus, which is responsible for memory formation. Practicing mindfulness, meditation, or deep breathing exercises can help manage stress levels and improve cognitive function. Okay, let's wrap things up with some fun facts and debunk some myths about the brain. The 10% myth. You've probably heard the myth that we only use 10% of our brains. False. We use 100% of our brain, just at different times for different functions. Even when you're at rest, your brain is still active, running processes that keep your body alive. Your brain can read faster than you think. The brain is capable of processing up to 60,000 thoughts per day. That's a lot of mental chatter. Brain freeze. That sharp pain you feel when you drink something too cold too fast is called brain freeze. It's caused by rapid constriction and dilation of blood vessels in your mouth, which affects the nerves that lead to your brain. Your brain has its own immune system. Your brain has a special immune system that helps protect it from infections and diseases. It's called the blood-brain barrier, and it's super selective about what can pass through. You can grow new brain cells. Contrary to old beliefs, you can grow new neurons, especially in areas related to memory and learning. This is why challenging your brain can help improve cognitive function, even as you age.